Oh, hi. Hi. Uh, Hopefully you can hear me. Hope this is working. My production skills are weak, I'll admit. But my name's Bruce. This is my small classroom that I have here in the forest. Actually, it's a pretty big forest. Class is small. That's it. This is my my method of communication as best I can. This YouTube channel. Okay, and if you know, every day I like to talk about, not every day, but when I make the videos, I like to talk about objects, people, and ideas. The object. Okay, this shovel, this is a handy object. This shovel, it's good to have in your car. It collapses down to a small package. You can put it in your backpack, and it'll shovel you out in a jam. I recommend this shovel. It's aluminum. It's by HDX. Normally you want to use it with gloves on because it gets really chilly. All right, people. Okay, I want to talk about the person that's had kind of really a positive effect in the world these days would be, more than anyone else, would be the diaspora. I'm going to talk about the people that have come from somewhere else to go somewhere else to pursue a dream, an idea, a life, a reality, something. But the diaspora is a valuable concept in the world. It's something about, it's about mobility. Okay, now what got me making this video is, or what motivated this exact video, is I wish to talk about someone asked a question. I saw a question about electric vehicle charging. I mean, adding energy to your electric vehicle and the price thereof. And this is kind of a unique phenomenon in the world today, because if you go back to the earlier videos that I've made and this discussion about economics, you recall there are three entities in our society. There's the people, the individual, whose job really it is to have fun, to maximize their enjoyment and to maximize the benefit for their family. That's a job of the individual. The second thing that exists in society is business. A firm. Unabashedly, the objective of a firm must be profit, without reservation. If you have a firm and you're not making profit, you're not going to last that long. And if you're trying to conflate a little bit too much altruism with your profit, that's not good. It's a recipe for demise. All right, so the most successful businesses are businesses that focus on providing a valuable product or service to society, and they reap economic and accounting profit from this activity. People choose their product over another product, or choose their service over another service, and they maximize their revenue, they minimize expenses, all this stuff. It's great. Okay. The next entity is government. The role of government is to maximize the well-being of society, maximize the well-being of everyone, the maximization of welfare, not welfare in the sense of a weekly or monthly or stipend or check, but the well-being of everyone. And it's dealing with competing interests. That's a reality. Okay, so someone asked a question about electric vehicle charging. Okay. So I happen to be standing in a part of North America that has the highest, I think arguably it's an empirical thing. You can look it up, you can measure it, but that's just about the highest electric vehicle adoption in North America, pretty much. Okay. So this idea about charging up your car, people say, well, why don't you charge by I've discussed this before. People, why don't you charge by the unit of energy? It's a unit of energy. There you go. Well, first blush, that might make sense. But what happens a lot, and especially in Canada, and it's I'll explain this, is it's a charge or a price per time, or dollars per minute or hour, something like that. And someone says, well, why isn't this the same as filling your car with gasoline. Why isn't this the same as electricity is electricity? Why is the electricity that's going into your car different from the electricity that's going into your house? And that is a valid question. Okay, deserves consideration. Okay, now remember this idea that this is your business, the business. Okay, it is a business. It's a store. It's a coffee place. Whatever it is, it's a parking lot. Okay, and then at that business, there's a plug. And then you take your car, you drive in there with your car, and you plug into this plug. Okay, and so the business plugging into the plug. But the bunch of stuff that made all this possible really comes from a thing called the utility. Utility a little bit different from the economic sense of utility, if you're thinking of that word. But utility means like the electric company, the electric utility, or the water really utility, but the utility in your community or your town. Okay, so the utility distributes the electricity. The electricity comes over here from some generating affair. The generating affair can, once you're talking about electricity, the big upside of electricity is choice. You have options in the manner in which the electricity is created. Now, electricity, it's not like an energy source. Electricity is a medium of exchange, really, in the same sense as money is a medium of exchange. Okay, it exchanges an energy source for the end use, the end service. In this instance, the end service happens to be transportation, and the transportation is provided by a private automobile that is being charged at this thing here. So before this electricity happened, this generator thing, maybe if it was a hydro dam, huge, okay, hydro dam. Maybe it was a nuclear power plant. That's just not a very good symbol, but maybe it's a nuclear power plant. Maybe it's wind turbines. Maybe it's solar on your roof. Maybe it's lots of things. Okay, but in order for that electricity to be created, in order for the energy source to be converted into electricity, which is then going to be converted into the useful work that you wish to do, which is in this case transportation, it took a vast resource, a tremendous resource. And if you look at economies throughout North America, or say what would you call them? Jurisdictional areas. Okay, like in the United States, you'd have states, or in or some regions, or in Canada, you have provinces and territories. But the jurisdictional areas are devoting resource to the creation of this electricity. Okay, now the underlying raison d'etre for the present move towards electrification is because we have pressing and catastrophic climate change. So we wish to move our society from the consumption of hydrocarbons and emissions and all these affairs to non-emitting lifestyle, to a lifestyle that's not going to create greenhouse gases, and that's it. That is the public policy objective. Okay, so in offering enticements to people to abandon emissions, governments will offer incentives. So the incentives say, around here, there's a federal government incentive and there's a provincial government incentive. It adds up to quite a bit for the purchase of the vehicle. Then there's an unspoken incentive, which is that we have basically vast, reliable sources of electricity and a very reliable delivery system for this electricity, and that is a public entity. Okay, in this jurisdiction. In another jurisdiction, perhaps somewhere in the United States, it might be a quasi-public entity or something that seems like a public entity but is private, or it might seem like a private entity but it's public. But there's a huge public component in this. Massive. All right. Now, also at this moment in the adoption of electricity, there is a dearth, a shortage of charging facilities. There's not a shortage of electricity. There's kind of, at the moment, there's a shortage of places to plug your car in if you happen to be on a road trip and you want to charge up really fast. I mean, it's possible to charge up your electric vehicle in nominally 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, you can get enough electricity in your car to drive 250 miles or 400 kilometers if you live in the land of kilometers, or if you live in the land of miles. Everything goes well, it's about 15 minutes. Okay. Now, how did that happen? Right? How did that happen? Well, that happened because we have large sources of reliable electricity. That's no question. I mean, there might be intermittent failures or whatever, but in general, it's reliable. And then we have the system comes here. That's it. So if we pretend that this business is completely independent of the electrical system, so it doesn't matter, right? There's no requirement. Then you can kind of do what you want. You can make that argument, but this tremendous dependency means that these entities, these plugs, the pricing of electricity is the end point in a public policy, that a government deal that is moving towards improving our society broadly. Okay, so it's a convergence of the three entities of society, of government, of individuals, and businesses. So the business wants to make money. That's their job. So they would like to figure out a way to maximize revenue and minimize costs, period. The individual wants to save money so that they can charge their car as inexpensively as possible, and buy the car as inexpensively as possible, and take their children to sports, or go buy dinner, or do whatever you do with your car as well with the most amount of pleasure that you can have at the least amount of cost. That's what individuals do. But the government is looking at this whole thing. If they're an effective government and they're saying, we need this to maximally benefit society, we need as many people as possible to stop using their gasoline car, to stop using diesel, to stop using things that are combustion and emitting, and to use things that are not. That's it. So if you if you have a price by the minute here, what that does, pricing by the minute is the business is then charging per time for use of the parking space, for use of the machine at the end of the chain. Okay. Now, these machines at the end of the chain, they are almost always heavily subsidized by government assistance, which means that they're taking resources that are otherwise used for other aspects of the public good, or your tax dollars, to put it in kind of a overly simplified way, and it's being diverted to this public policy. Okay, so the real cost is the opportunity cost of having your vehicle attached to the end of the plug. And if your vehicle is attached to the end of the plug, that means that another vehicle cannot be attached to the end of the plug. And so you want it as quickly as possible for your vehicle to leave. Okay, so what that does is is it incentivizes people to purchase vehicles that charge quickly. Okay? If you have an electric vehicle that is 10 years old, it's going to charge less quickly than an electric vehicle that is one of the newer models. That's it. Okay, and there you go. Hallelujah. Well, I don't like that word, but you know, I mean it in a quite a secular sense. And this idea about why is that electricity different from the electricity that's going into your house? The reason is because the public policy that created your house electricity, although superficially it's the same as the public policy that creates the car electricity, well, it's been around for a long time, and we're kind of in this stable regime, and we're encouraging some non-combustion. We want people to move to heat pumps. That's great, and having properly insulated houses and multifamily houses, and getting away from these 30,000 square meter monster houses. That's not good. 30,000 square meters, like 300,000 square foot, that's a heck of a house, I'll tell you. But that's it. So they're quite different, and the difference is it's in this idea of the public policy objective and the amount of energy that goes in, effort that goes into creating electricity is really it's a public resource. Okay, if you look in the United States, I mean, you have famous public projects. You have Lake Mead, you have the Hoover Dam, the Grand Coulee Dam, all sorts of hydro dams. You have nuclear plants. You have all sorts of examples where it's clearly a public effort to create the electricity. And in this region that I'm in, which is also you could make the argument is the strongest and most diverse economy in North America. The reason for the diversification and the strength of the economy comes from a decision that was made a long time ago to nationalize the electrical generation in this region, this area, this legislative zone. Okay, and that is just had massive benefits for the society and for our country. All right. Anyway, that might have been a little long-winded and a bit vague. And if you started with a hardcore position that I was wrong, then maybe you're still in the hardcore position that I was wrong. But that's fine. We can talk about this some more. Anyway, please leave a comment if you want. Hit the like button if you want. Hit the like button if you don't want. Heck, I mean, this is we live in the age of influencer, and I think that I've managed to create a non-influential social media entity. These are among the very least watched videos of all that I know, and I get it. They're not that fancy and not particularly splash dash or entertaining, but I hope that you find a little bit of entertainment. There you go. Thank you very much. My name's Bruce. This is my channel. Enjoy your day. Ooh. Oh, and just as an aside, if you're really into electric vehicles, yesterday I did a single day trip of 900 miles in my electric vehicle while charging on the what is the most reliable electric charging system that I know of to exist in North America. And by the way, the plugs are the CCS plugs that I'm using. Okay.